Okay, so we're going to look at our endurance game, round 16 of EC31 against StarMarck. StarMarck's going first, and we start with a warp jump. So StarMarck here is going to pick up TradeBot, and then he's going to see Converter drop on the row and instantly get it because it's a really good pickup if you can get it allied. He also drops another red onto the row, so now there's a red docker and a recycle bot, and that's a big problem. We can't let StarMark get the docker. If he gets docker, then we're in a huge amount of trouble. It forces us to take damage to get rid of the converter, and there's going to come a point in the game where he's docking forever. So our priority has to be the Guardian, which we take. Wrecker drops. We are going to take the recycle bot because that represents a lot of scrap in one turn for StarMark if he can convert with that on the board. So we're going to take that, we're going to drop a hero, and we're just going to deal damage and pass the turn. It leaves us 4 scouts on top, which also means, because we've got we've bought cards that give us at least 1 trade, we should have no impediment to getting Wrecker next turn. With the gambits that we've got left. StarMark doesn't have any gambits left. He spent his. He didn't get any trade boosts. So the only thing really that stops us getting Wrecker is some kind of awkward event that scraps the row, like a comet. But he drops a Hagen, leaves us no impediment to getting Wrecker, and so turn 4, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to buy our Wrecker. We then get a trade mission, which actually is kind of nice because now we're on an even scrap foot with StarMark, arguably slightly ahead because Wrecker's getting us a guaranteed 2, and Converter, if he doesn't ally it, isn't getting him anything. It's just a butt. So what our consideration here is are we going to take the frigate to try and get the discard train rolling, or are we going to get the patrol boat to allow us to survive longer and try and build a differential? And we go for patrol boat. Drops Unity Station, which is not the best news, but so be it. We're going to leave patrol boat on top with due care and consideration to the idea that if he gets a converter, then we've got the damage coming to maybe deal with that, because our other red card is on top. We can draw into that, and we can get rid of converter if that's what comes down, bearing in mind he's drawing 2 with the trade mission. He scraps, and then he's got his cargo pod, and he's got 8. Personally speaking here, I think I take Unity Station. StarMark takes Breeding Ground, or Breeding Site rather. And then he's got 4 left. So he's going to take Hagen, keeps it away from us with patrol boat, makes sense, and he's going to take the green card as well. Pops a Galactic Summit, everybody gets health. I think we're not too sad about that. So we're just gonna. I don't know why I drew here actually. That's kind of maybe a bit of a mistake, but we're gonna scrap out. We're gonna take the green hero. We don't want him having the damage, and we're just gonna apply damage and go. So good news, we top Wrecker. Sad news, we might lose out on the recycle bot because if we wreck, we don't have anything to scrap with. We're gonna lose the scrap. So StarMark's going to pick up the Imperial frigate. He's seen that danger, and he's going to drop a mobilization, which we're absolutely thrilled about, because now we can get cards into the discard pile, and we can scrap out from there instead of our hands, and we can use that for trade. StarMark gets rid of his starters that he doesn't want. He does have a converter now that doesn't have a purpose. It's got no red ally, so that's kind of a wasted opportunity. We're going to pop Temple Guardian to the top and just drop everything else in the discard. We're going to scrap from the discard. We're going to scrap from our hand. We're going to draw Temple Guardian. We're going to get the full trade to buy the mobile market. We want that for patrol boat. We want it for the soak that it's going to give us. And we also want it for the trade because we're a little bit trade light. Temple Guardian's fine, but we could do with just a bit more trade just to be getting the juicier things as they come up. Get rid of his converter, which is important, and we're into the next deck. we bottomed 4 scouts and we've topped the other scout, or one of the other scouts that we've got in the deck. That's kind of fine. There's a red card we'd be kind of interested in there that draws us the mech, but StarMarck's going to pick that up. He's going to scrap out the damage, and he's going to drop us a mech world, which actually in our position we're very happy to take. It allies with everything we've got. It's extra soak, and it's a red base, so we can dock with it. Happy days. And now we've got a handful of juice. StarMarck drops breeding site, drops green, gets rid of those bases, gets his discard, applies damage. So we're going to lose our recycle bot. It's the least impactful card, but before that happens, StarMarck's last purchase reveals a federal transport, which is fantastic news. We're already feeling confident about having a shot at winning the game. Federal transport here might give us a shot at building a good differential. So we're going to get rid of recycle bot. We're going to, using the base mobile market, we're going to buy federal transport. We're going to scrap out. We're then going to draw using the Temple Guardian, getting damage, and deal damage past turn. So we've got a 10 card deck. We've got good scrap. StarMarck's going to convert here, draw. He's going to get the click to cycle through. He wants to be moving fast to get as much scrap as possible. He's going to click again, get rid of our mobile market, and then scrap from hand, and that's all he's got. So continuing the scrap vein, Temple Guardian for damage, both blues in hand, great. And what we're going to do here is we're going to get rid of Converter. We're not going to buy anything because we don't want to clog our deck. We just want to be slimming down as fast as possible. StarMarck's going to scrap out again and take his orbital shuttle. I did consider buying the orbital shuttle at one point, but I didn't really want that card in the deck that we had at the time. Turns out now it would have been actually quite useful because we have a couple bases. It is good healing, but it wasn't absolutely necessary. StarMarck's going to buy the yellow. We're just going to draw with our mobile market. We get federal transport. Great, we can ally that. I'm going to buy Starbase Omega. We're going to get Super Flare to draw. We're going to then draw Wrecker. Perfect draw there. Gets rid of our remaining starters, and off we go. Buy the Explorer there. Now we buy the Explorer because with our red cards, we've got every chance of an automatic draw in a turn, and having the Explorer there just gives us something to draw into, and it also gives us a second card to draw into with mobile market should we have the discard from the Imperial Frigate. So that's our logic on taking that Explorer there. Sure enough, in comes Frigate, in comes Breeding Site. He's going to scrap that, get another yellow, get the Converter. Again, can't ally the Converter, does take the base for the discard, and warp jumps into his scrap, which unfortunately, because he's played all his scouts, precludes the scrap from Converter. But he is discarding us. We're going to get rid of the Explorer. He gets rid of his yellow. And we're going to draw with the warp jump. So we're then going to lay our base, we're going to dock, and we're going to draw. We're going to get mobile market down. We're going to buy that blue card, more to see what pops than any desire to actually have that in our deck. It's a fine card. It's cheap. We could have played Patrol Boat first to buy it more cheaply. In our defense, it's probably a tiny mistake there. But actually we're more interested in Recycle Station because it does things to move through into the cards that we want, and with an Alliance transport there, that's great. So we're going to use our mobile market to draw into Recycle Bot. We're then going to buy, using Temple Guardian, the Alliance transport, and now we're going to Recycle Bot and scrap out the blue card that we didn't really terribly want, but we just wanted to reveal things. We do get rid of his bases using our hero. And we dock, which is great, but now StarMarck's going to be able to pick up that fantastic base, which is a potential problem if the game goes too long. Drawing 2 cards a turn is really good, but we are pretty much in the end game here. We're going to draw using base Omega. We're going to gain all the authority. We're going to buy Ram. It's damage and it's sacrificable. By the blue base, we're then going to cycle our Patrol Boat because we're really, really interested in CEO Torres, and we're interested in StarMarck not getting CEO Torres. So we're going to cycle our patrol boat, hope that we draw into one of our 2 trade bases, which we do. We're then going to buy Torres, we're going to scrap out our Explorer, we're going to get Mobile Market first, get an extra bit of damage and healing, get rid of the storage silo, and off we go. And now it's just a question of have we got enough to get the knockout differential. And StarMarck scraps down here. He drops a Bounty Hunter, which is actually really bad news for him because we have a blue base and the trade, scrapping the Ram to top Bounty. Then we can, using Wrecker and the Temple Guardian, draw into it, and that is enough damage and healing to punch through his converter, get to a good differential, and win by over 100. So good game, StarMarck. I feel like that was you had a good start with getting the converter, but I feel like Wrecker was like exactly the solution to that puzzle. So that felt like a good game, but it also felt like a game that kind of fell into my lap in some respects, in that, you know, from a potentially strong start and being on the back foot with your opponent having a potentially active converter to having something that could move as fast, if not faster, in scrapping down in Wrecker. So it was a good game, probably a bit fortunate to start with, and I feel like we played well to engineer the endurance knockout, which can be sometimes tough to do, and sometimes you need a little bit of luck. But I feel like there are a couple of good purchases in there and a bit of fortune. And StarMarck beat me earlier on in the endurance that he won, so this is maybe a little bit of payback for that. So GG Marius, however you pronounce that one, StarMarck, and see you next time.